Do we have to take our laser point? This is the second test.
Good evening, everybody. Today is January 5th. This is Moscow City Council. In meeting tonight, we have some fun things and some exciting things that we don't get to do every so often, where we are going to lose one of our colleagues to go on to other things, and we're going to gain a new colleague as we go along this evening. So it's going to be kind of a fun evening. One of the events that we're going to have at the end of our council meeting, at the very end of it, we'll have refreshments out in the hallway here for those folks that came to wish the new counselor well. And for our old counselor that's going to be departing as well as also. So that'll happen right at the very end of our meeting. With that, I would move on to approval of the December 15 minutes.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the December 15 minutes of the City Council.
Second.
Okay, I got
Let Tom do it.
a motion by Walter to approve the minutes, as said, with Tom Lamar second, and I'll start the roll with Art.
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye. Aye.
Okay, and we will move forward with that. Second course of action is a noise ordinance report by David Duke. Chief Duke, how are you this evening, sir?
Very well, thank you, Mayor and Council. On an annual basis, I make a report on the noise ordinances over the last year, and we do it on a calendar year instead of on a physical, because crime statistics are kept by the Idaho State Police by a calendar statistical year. In the request from our citizens, they ask specific questions. The first one is how many noise ordinances have been issued over the last year, how many resulted in citations from those calls, and what was the outcome of those citations. I have a quick slide here of last year, 2014. We saw 577 noise complaints. Of those, 5 citations were issued. Those fines ranged from $255 to $455. Of those 5 citations, 2 were found guilty or pleaded guilty, and 2 were dismissed, and 1 is currently pending at this point. All of them were written on the state statute in Title 18 under disturbing the peace, but there are 3 other alternatives left at the discretion of the officers, but all of them chose to write under the title misdemeanors under Idaho Code. If you recall, back in 2008, the City Council decided to make a change to our ordinance, and in that I have the statistics from the previous 2 years before that, and then as they go on. Before 2008, it was required to issue a warning to the violator prior to being issued a citation. And on top of that, we had to wait a total of 48 hours within that time period to issue a citation. Anything outside 48 hours required additional warning and another new time period. The council determined that under the resolution that it wished to allow a police officer to issue a citation where the officer personally observed the violation and has reasonable grounds to believe that the person committed the offense, and also it is believed that allowing police officers discretion to issue a citation for violation of the noise ordinance without a warning will lead to the perseverance of peace and quiet within the city. As you can see, the calls have slowly gone down from 2008 to 2014, and you can see that there is a 40% decrease in noise ordinance calls that we respond to. So I think within the intent of the resolution and the council's willingness to change that, where an officer can write the citation without having a citizen sign it, we have reached that resolution at this point. And I'm open to any questions that you have at this time.
Chief Duke, it appears to all of us up here, anyway, me, that it is working very, very well since we applied that noise ordinance in 2008, and which gives our officers other things that they can do rather than track somebody down in a noisy house full of folks that are having a great time.
Yes, sir.
Walter?
Chief, do you see a plateau in this? Do you believe we have yet reached the lowest number that a college town can expect to receive in a year, or do you have any way to guess?
I would say we're probably going to be in the 500 to 400 range calls per year at this point. I don't see it going down any further than this, but things might change. But at this point, on average, we were between 1,000 and 900 before 2008, and I'm pretty sure we're about where we're going to be at for the remainder, at least where I can see, unless something changes.
Thank you.
Dan?
Why the 20-call drop-off, you think, over the last year as far as the citations?
What happens is the officers are able to provide education to the violator at that point, and they are told at that point that if they don't turn it down, they'll be issued a citation immediately upon coming back, or within a time period, usually within 2 or 3 weeks instead of the 48 hours. So I believe that has had a significant impact on the ones that are actually violating the ordinance and have decided to continue on in that type of behavior.
Other questions for the chief? Thank you very much, Chief. Thank you for your report. We will move on to item number 3, committee and commission reports. Walter?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Due to the holidays and other reasons, such as not much activity and things going on, I don't have a single thing from either the Public Works Finance Committee or any of my commissions.
The last few weeks has been very, very quiet with the holidays, and so it's one of the rare times for the city that there's not much going on. So we will move on to item number 4, which is recognition for and comments on our outgoing commissioner, Tom Lamar.
Councilman. Well, he's a commissioner now.
Well, councilor.
Not yet.
Future commissioner. Sorry.
I get to be a normal person for like a week before I start working again.
We do have a little presentation, a little slide presentation here. Tom, you want to talk first before we do Gary? You got.
Your Honor, you asked Walter for his report. You didn't ask the rest of the council for their report. Did you intend on getting their reports prior?
We were all in consensus.
Okay.
Nobody had anything?
No reports?
Great.
There's nothing
I
going
don't
on
have
from-
any other
We missed
reports.
There was nothing that went on from December 15th until tonight.
I just couldn't believe you didn't have something to do.
But we did have, which we'll talk about.
Lots of eggnog.
Shipping, Gary.
Eggnog.
Stephanie, we are going to, we got a little slide presentation for Tom here.
Heather was going to
Is Heather
start
going to get it going here? I've got some comments on Tom here. We're going to let this thing run. Tom was appointed to the Moscow City Council in June of 2007 to fill a vacancy. I'm going to read a number of different bullet points on Tom. And Tom, if I miss something here at the very end, I want you to chime in and let me know. He was elected to a 4-year term in November of 2007 and was reelected for another 4-year term in November, 2007 and 2011. Tom's been the executive director of Palouse Clearwater Environment Institute since 1990. Tom is a founding member of the Latah Trail Foundation. Tom taught conservation leadership for 6 years at the University of Idaho. Tom holds a master's degree at Washington State University and a bachelor's from the University of Delaware. Tom has lived in Moscow for 30 years. He's got 3 daughters, all of who graduated from Moscow High and are alumni of or current students at the University of Idaho. Tom was a commissioner for the Moscow Urban Renewal Agency from 2009 to 2013. Tom served on various selection committees for city staff members and independent contractors. He's even served as an acting mayor at one time here. Tom was on the Moscow Transportation Commission for 9 years, vice president of the Latah Trail Foundation for 14 years, Idaho Carbon Sequestration Commission member. That was a governor appointee for Tom. 1912 Center Mayor's Task Force, Mountain View Road Task Force, liaison to Clearwater RC&D, 4 city commission appointments by various mayors, and those mayors included Paula Gideus, Marshall Comstock, and Nancy Cheney. 2 Idaho commission appointments by governors Phil Batt and Dick Kempthorne. U of I Agriculture, Economic, and Rural Sociology Advisory Board from 2002 to 2005. Moscow Chamber Government Affairs Committee, Moscow Chamber Entrances Committee, U of I Enrichment Program Advisory Board. Tom, of course, has raised 3 incredible daughters. I mentioned that earlier here in Moscow. Moscow Food Co-op member for 30 years, Moscow Chamber of Commerce member for 21 years, Pullman Chamber of Commerce member for 20 years, Idaho Gem Star Coordinating Committee for 10 years, Moscow Chinook Masters Swimming Treasurer for 15 years, League of Women's Voters member, Latah County Historical Society member, Hamilton Low Aquatic Center Campaign member, University of Idaho Biosafety Committee, 2003, Moscow Downtown Revitalization Committee from 2000 to 2001, Valley Transit Board member from 2003 through 2006, and Tom served as a council liaison to the following commissions: Human Rights Commission, Tree Commission, Arts Commission, Historic Preservation Commission, Parks and Rec Commission, Planning and Zoning Commission, Friend Affordable Housing Commission, Paradise Path Task Force. One thing that's not on here that I'm a little disappointed in is Tom is an avid bicyclist, and I'm confident he's got some truck drivers get 2 million miles on trucks with a safety. I think Tom's probably got 2 million miles on a bike without a wreck. I don't know how many miles you've put on a bike, Tom, but it'd be kind of interesting to know. But these are some terrific achievements. You were going to be missed by all of us. And I'll turn it over to council for comments.
Tom, I've sat by you for several times throughout the years, and I'll be glad to watch you up there on the hill and give Will McGraw and Walser a hard time.
Oh, thanks.
Tom, I concur with Big Dan. It's been an honor to get to know you, an honor to work with you, and I think you will continue on with your work with the county, although it'll take a little more of your time.
Yeah, Tom, you've been able to claim elder status on this by about 6 months, I think, on Dan.
That's about it.
Dan and Wayne and I, so now we're tied for the oldest serving council members now that you're moving ahead.
Tom, thanks for your time. It's, we've agreed on a lot of stuff. There's been times you and I were outvoted. There's been times that we didn't agree. But I've always appreciated your insight and your comments, and certainly your friendship. And I wish you the best as you move forward to the top of the hill.
Thanks.
Yep, and I've known you, Tom, for a great span of years as well, and it's partly your fault, poking me with the sharp end of the stick to get me up here behind this podium. And I highly encourage you not to do that again for future offices. I've gone as far as I'm going to go.
The stick helped a lot.
It did. So anyway, congratulations and thanks for your service here, and I know you'll do well in the new position.
Thanks.
One last thing, I would like to call into question some implications by some of the council people that you're moving ahead or up. I'm not willing to admit that county commissioners better or higher than city council.
Just up the hill.
Walter, when we say he's moving up, we mean it's a higher elevation because the courthouse is at a higher elevation than the city hall.
Yeah, that's what that refers to.
Okay, with that, we're going to move on. Tom, I'd like to hear a few comments.
I just have a few things I wanted to say if I could.
Did I miss anything on the checkoff list here?
No, I hope not.
I mean, I got ran out of breath, folks.
Probably a number of times I've been married, but that's about it.
Well, I didn't want to
We don't need to go.
I didn't go there, Tom.
In the last 7.5 years, I've felt very grateful to be able to work with the following council members: Linda Paul, Aaron Ament, John Weber, Bill Lambert, Kit Crane, Dan Carscallon, Walter Steed, Wayne Kraus, Sue Scott, Tim Brown, and Art Betke, and also with the mayors, Nancy Cheney and Bill Lambert. All have become true friends, and I appreciate the opportunity to work with all of them. I avoid using words like conservative and liberal to describe individuals because I find those terms limit our intentions as elected officials. I feel that we've all come to various issues that we consider from our own perspectives, and we learn from each other and we all improve our thinking on any given topic as we serve the residents of Moscow. In the early 1990s, I was previously married to another Moscow City Council member, Pam Palmer. So all told, I've spent 15 and a half years either married to a city council member or serving as a city council member, which means that I've had 15 and a half years of city budget books in my bed. Issues that I've been most proud of, working with other council members, mayors, various city commissions, and city staff, of course, I think are best characterized as making Moscow a leading city in Idaho. The clean indoor air ordinance that ended smoking in bars in Moscow was a proud-making moment for me. I really enjoyed the bike ride home from that city council meeting. The anti-discrimination ordinance that we passed, preventing discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity. Support of the Moscow-Pullman Airport expansion, leading the way for other entities to also support this important step. The various mobility efforts and transportation planning that has encouraged people to make personal choices, increasing the number of non-motorized trips in Moscow. Those things including sharrows, commitment to decent bike racks, safe and connected sidewalks, etc. Our support of transit in Moscow, leading to a growing transit system, including many useful and attractive bus stops and multimodal transit center. Our support for the ball fields in a location that's relatively central to much of the city's residential population. And the use of the Hamilton funds, I think, was an excellent choice that helped Moscow voters to support the school district levy, leading to eventual construction of those fields. I'm proud of, again, also of our excellent fiscal management in the city. I'm proud of the budgets developed by our mayors and staff and the recognition that the city has received over the years. We've received various awards in smart growth, children at play, urban forests, and equality. We've done a lot of work at the city, fundraising, lots of collaboration with our staff, writing grants for the city. I can't remember, but it's over $7 million in the last 7 years, I think. So that's I think, very exciting. Our effort to get the Blackbird Crossing moving forward, honoring the work of a fallen former city council member, John Dickinson. I'm proud of our Moscow Farmers Market and all the recognition it gets, and proud of this city's collaboration with other political entities, which I intend on continuing from the other side, continuing to reach back to the city and continuing to work well. So I think it's definitely a great group of people here at the City of Moscow, including the City Council, the mayor, the staff, and all the citizen commissions and volunteers and so forth that make this happen. And, of course, the city residents that expect quality from the people running the government. So thanks all for a fun time. It's been great, and I appreciate all your friendship. Thank you.
One of the things is I was reading off these notes, and a lot of times folks in the public, and we're on TV, and we have folks in the audience, and counselors spend a lot of various moments, hours, days, and weeks doing things, and the epitome of Tom, all these different things that I talked about, what Tom has done and has achieved over the years, that's about good community involvement, and counselors do this. Every counselor does this type of thing. Maybe different commissioner, maybe do something different, but they spend countless hours of trying to make our city and our area a better place for all of us to live in. I just hope that our citizens really take a a moment and reflect that, because Tom is a person, as is the other 5 counselors up here, that spend a tremendous amount of time trying to do the right thing for our community. And so with that, Tom, you've been exemplary in this, and I, as a friend and a guy that worked with you together as a colleague on council, as a mayor, I sure appreciate the work and everything that you've done, and I'm looking forward to working with you in the future as a county commissioner.
Well, I've had a blast here. Thanks so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, with that, we are going to move on for the...
So you get to kick it.
I get to walk.
You can take, you can, yep, well, you
Out of the way.
well, Jim won't quite come up yet, because he's got to take the oath of the office, but you can either sit here until
I'll
he's
just sit
done
and
with
wait
that.
until you do
Okay?
that, and then I'll...
We got the oath of office administered to Jim Boland by our city clerk, Stephanie Kalaz. Stephanie, would you like to do this?
Over by the podium.
Have you raise your right hand. And I can either have you repeat after me, or I can read the whole thing and just ask you if you solemnly swear, and you can say I do.
Do that.
Okay. Do you, Jim Boland, solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Idaho, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of council member in the city of Moscow, Latah County, Idaho, according to the best of your ability?
I will.
Just sign right here. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And I'll give you a copy.
Now I get out of here. Take your name? Yeah, take my name, and I'll ride all over the place. Let's see, get my stuff.
Got a lot of stuff.
I got luggage. You get one carry-on.
Taking a lot of baggage on the hill.
You get one carry-on below and one above. Well,
Got enough hands for all that?
Yeah, I'm set.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jim?
Enjoy, Jim.
Welcome.
See you, Tom.
Have fun. Congratulations. Thank you.
Okay, we will reconvene with the 2015 council under new business. And I will go with the council organization. Walter was our 2014 president, so Walter, I will let you take over from here.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would make a motion that the council approve the following proposed city council assignments for 2015. As council president, Dan Carscallon. Council vice president, Wayne Krause. The administrative committee will be moved to 4:30 p.m. the second and fourth Mondays with Chair Dan Carscallon and members John Weber and Jim Boland. That the Public Works Finance Committee would meet at 3 p.m. the second and fourth Mondays with Chair Wayne Krause and members Art Betke and myself. The city has multiple standing commissions and committees that the council performs liaison duties with, and I would, as part of that motion, make the following assignments. The Arts Commission, Dan Carscallon. Building Code Advisory Committee, Walter Steed. Fair and Affordable Housing Commission, Art Betke. Farmers Market Commission, Wayne Krause. Historic Preservation Commission, Wayne Krause. Human Rights Commission, John Weber. Paradise Path Task Force, until such time as the council might take action on their reconfiguration, would be Jim Boland, and I would imagine that would continue if they are reconstituted as a commission. Parks and Rec Commission, Dan Carscallon. Planning and Zoning Commission, John Weber. Sustainable Environment Commission, Art Betke. Transportation Commission, Jim Boland. And the Tree Commission, Dan Carscallon. In addition to those standing commissions and committees, we have other organizations with which we liaison, and I would also include in that motion the following assignments: to the Clearwater Economic Development Agency, Wayne Krause; to the Clearwater RC&D, Jim Boland; to the Latah Economic Development Council, Wayne Krause; to the Moscow Volunteer Fire Department, Walter Steed; to Palouse Basin Aquifer Committee, Walter Steed; and to the Palouse Knowledge Corridor, Wayne Krause. Mr. Mayor, that concludes the list of reassignments, unless somebody tells me I missed something.
Got it.
I will second that list of reassignments.
Okay, Walter made a motion with the list that he just read off to everybody, with Dan Carscallon second. We'll start the roll with John.
Aye.
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 Okay, we have the new commissions. We've got a new council president, new council vice president, Council President Dan Carscallon, Vice President Wayne Krause. I would like all you gentlemen to be seated at their appropriate seats, please.
All righty.
And we'll-
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I would note that the assignment of Chair of the Administrative Committee, Chair of the Public Works Finance Committee are proposed. They will be voted on at the committees themselves in a week.
A week from today. Okay. Will everybody take a minute?
We don't have.
That's mine.
You're golden.
Whose is which?
Make sure you get the right water.
Entire administrative committee together all the time.
That's right. People might get the wrong idea
They
about
might.
it.
Oh, I was concerned.
I feel different at the right hand now.
Okay, everybody,
Hi, Bill.
seat it all, Wayne.
How you doing?
Welcome to my left over here.
Good to see you.
Okay, well, we'll go on with item number 7, which is public comment, and then mayor's response time. And of course, we give members of the public 15 minutes to speak, as long as it's nothing that is before us this evening or coming up, or for public hearing on planning and zoning and the Board of Adjustments. So if anybody would like to step to the podium, please announce your name and address at this time. Seeing nobody come forward, I will move on to item number 8, which is city limits designation. Kevin Lilly, sir.
Thank you so much.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Every year at this time, the first meeting, normally, the city needs to either affirm the city limits have not changed or acknowledge that city limits have changed. In this case, in the past year, we've had no annexations, so we don't need to do, as Walter mentioned, I was going to read the meets and bounds description of the city limits, but it would take quite a while. And it hasn't changed, is the point. So we do need your acknowledgement that the city limits are the same as they were in 2013 when the previous ordinance was passed.
Mr. Mayor, I'd make such a motion.
Okay, to accept, and John saying, okay, Walter made a motion to accept city limits designation presented by Kevin Lilly with John Weber as second. We'll start the roll with you, Walter.
Aye.
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 Okay, consider that the same. The city limits are exactly the same from 2013 through 2014. Thank you, Kevin. We will move on to item number 9 now, which is change in meeting schedule due to Human Rights Day. Gary Reedner, sir, you have the podium.
Thank you, Your Honor. What we have is whenever we have a state, local, federal holiday, and it falls on one of our regular meeting dates, we inform the public. We do have a code section that states that our regular meetings will be held on the next day that is not a holiday. In this case, Idaho Human Rights Day falls on Monday, January 19th, so our regular next city council meeting will fall on Tuesday, January 20th. So this is just to inform the council.
and inform the public that that date will change. Thank you.
Okay. Do council like to confirm January 20th, 2015 as a council meeting date?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we move the January 19th city council date to Tuesday, January 20th.
Seconded.
Okay, Wayne made the motion to confirm January 20th, 2015 as the next council meeting with Art Bedke second. Start the roll, John.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
And I.
Okay, and that proves that next meeting will be January 20th, folks, which is a Tuesday. Gary, do you have anything for us?
No, sir. We do have a quarterly regional breakfast meeting on Wednesday, hosted by Latah County. We'll be at the 1912 Center. And certainly, if you have not already RSVP'd, let Lori know, and she'll get your name in.
I believe that's 7:30 a.m.
Yes, I believe it is in.
Okay, that is so noted.
I'm happy to announce that the city still goes at 7 o'clock in the morning, in spite of our compatriots going at 7:30.
And when it's the city's turn, we'll start at 7 in June. How's that
That'll
sound?
be in July.
Work for you, okay, in July.
Great, that'll be perfect.
Okay, just as a reminder for everybody out there, there will be refreshments after the meeting, so please stick around and talk to Tom Lamar, as well as welcome Jim Bolin as one of our new city councilors. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Dan moved.
Second.
Second by Walter. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Boom, this meeting is adjourned, folks. Thank you very much.